What was your I'm too old for this shit realization? Went out with some friends recently. We broke up our usual monotony of going to grab decent food, then going to our regular spot. Our regular spot is a small quiet pub. All of the regulars and staff know one another by name. One of our group suggested that we live it up and go to a club instead. Within 30 minutes of being there I had several drinks spilled on me and found myself in the middle of a brawl. A frat boy threw his drink in a friend of mine's face for dancing with a girl that apparently he was after. Chaos ensued. It seemed like the whole club started fighting. I ducked a swinging beer bottle, but it still shattered on my shoulder blade. After the adrenaline settled and we all started to sober up, I realized just how much pain I was in. We should have just gone to our pub. I legitimately despise clubs of any sort. Also the hip club bar hybrid that's not a true club, but is shoulder to shoulder with music too loud to talk. Give me a dive with cheap drafts, pool tables, and good pizza any day. A few years ago I was home for summer break from college, and I was babysitting for this family which I had babysitted previously, for many years. The kids I had babysitted no longer needed a sitter, but the family now had a new 6-month-old baby. I no longer needed the meager money they paid, but I took the sitting job mostly out of habit and kindness. The baby wouldn't stop crying. It just wouldn't stop. I remember thinking I'm too old for this, and so I threw the baby out the window and enjoyed the rest of the night watching television and eating cake. When the parents came home I told them the baby ran away. Okay, I didn't actually throw the baby out the window, but I kind of wanted to. It was the last time I babysitted for anyone, so you could say I threw the job out the window. Pulling an all-nighter and having to be active from 8 AM to 5 PM after it. I can still do this. I did this yesterday, pulled a all-nighter, went out and mowed 3-4 acre of grass with a push mower, and I'm close to middle age point. Yes, I'm bragging a little, I'm proud of me. Good for you, man. I had to be a facilitator for an event with a bunch of teens, going through an entrepreneurship and finance workshop here. That sound more tiring than mowing the grass. Did not help that the teens I was fetching though and fro from the event were not exactly being polite with me. I miss working with younger kids, less bad attitudes. I tried playing a soccer game with my kids team. It was a fun little parents vs kids game, and I was winded after about 3 minutes. I fell numerous times and was entirely sore for the rest of the week. Meanwhile my kid was just fine the next day, and I'm limping around. My one and only sports triumph was when I scored the winning goal for the parent team. Okay, here's the real story. I was too lazy to be running around, stood by the goal, ball came to me, I kicked it in. Had I spent the second half playing goalie with my hands on my hips or bent over wheezing. I did not score though. Music festivals. Went to Life is Beautiful last year. I can't handle the crowds or noise anymore, and overpriced drinks. Even if it's a band I like and wanted to see, I just can't handle the noise for long. It's like, I've seen countless great bands. It's all kinda meh now. And it feels weird when I look around and it's very obvious I'm one of the oldest dudes in the whole festival. Feels pervy. And I went to the first 3 Coachellas and countless other festivals in my 20s and 30s and loved every minute of it. I'm just too old for it now. I'm almost 43. When I found out my college classmates were mostly born in 2000, 2001. Or when a classmate finds out your age and is genuinely surprised they let people that old here. I was 5 years older. They should see my college, then. Half of the students are retired and extremely entitled. By the way, old folks who are studying a degree. Geez, around my age. My condolences. I'm a long-term substitute teacher. Most of the kids in the middle school I worked with this year were born in 2004. I was a junior in college then. After a few years of marriage and our busy day-to-day routine, I had found myself at home sick with the flu and needing rest. With a weekend to myself and the free and clear, I dusted off my old Sparks 360 and tried to play some of my youth's favorites. Instant motion sickness. A week later, when I was feeling better, I tried it again. Instant motion sickness. Boxed it back up and has been in storage ever since. Even watching YouTube gameplay videos gives me motion sickness. Why did this happen to me? You might want to see a doctor. bending over to pick something up. The rule is that there has to be 3 or 4 things needing to be picked up before you expend the effort. The worst though is when you drop something you absolutely need, or something the dog shouldn't have, like chocolate. Then, some rules were made to be broken. I have to be honest, I bought one of those picker-upper stick clamp things. I should look into those, but then I wouldn't have a reason to tell myself that I worked out for the day. I went to a local con cosplaying as a character from Adasha. My husband can't with me, but he doesn't cosplay, never, ever. We are in our 30s and this was our first time at this con. It was a young crowd. A boy, under 20, if not in high school, complimented me on my cosplay, looked at my husband and said, "That's cool, your dad comes with you." Okay, it was more painful to my husband, but ouch. It never crossed this kid's mind I could be old enough to be his mom. Going back to school to get my PhD at 38. Decided to leave with a master's. Being a student when you're an adult is infantilizing. I feel you there. I have a master's and took one class this winter to dip my toes back in and see if I wanted to pursue another degree for a career change. It was awful. I've had nightmares where I'm sitting in a class full of college freshmen. I wake up in a sweat, talking with an 18-year-old in my first D&D group. So this is your first group? Mine too. Me, yeah. I'm glad this seems to be going pretty well, though I'm hoping to join an in-person group too. I like seeing people as they act things out. Her mumbling to herself for about 20 seconds as I keep talking, oblivious to her internal struggle me, but I've got some friends who might be able to her you meant I roll. When my neighbor, who happened to be a close friend of mine, had a midlife crisis at 36 and started throwing parties with kids in their 20s. It took a turn when he consistently woke me up between 2 to 4 a.m. in the morning 4 to 5 nights a week. I called the cops for the first time in my life and lost a friendship of about 25 years. When it was all said and done, I wasn't upset, just relieved. When I went to a libraries for young readers day for work and someone got up and gave a 30-minute talk on young adult spaces that included a PowerPoint presentation that was 90% the office memes and contained no actual resources or tips, just her rambling thoughts and memes. New librarians are insufferable, and they make me want to write an apology letter to the first service I worked for. At 18, when I started having back pain from running cross country and track, running 2,000 to 3,000 miles for 4 years at high speeds took its toll. I chose not to run in college and just pursue academics, because I was better at it anyway. Extra work is just torture for the 3-odd Goku when getting out of room of spirit and time. Pretty much every time I see an argument in public where people are super mad, or when I saw 2 young people duking it out on a bus, I just don't know why people care about stuff so much that they would get so upset about stuff. People just act hard, as Kendrick Lamar rapped in Paramedic. N-words act tough, but they real kind. Today, that post from a teenager complaining because his mom went through his phone and demanding privacy, pay for the phone itself, the monthly bill, and Wi-Fi, or stop whining about the rightful owner of your phone letting you use it with conditions. I'm 26 and I'm already tired of kids being such spectacular brats. When my boss screamed at me like I was a child, went and spoke with another division director the next day and told her I was ready to move, I'm hoping the transfer happens soon. You walk into the director's office to see what's taking so long. She's bent over the table getting pounded by your boss. One of my friends I play online with is 21 and I'm 26. He invited me to his college party and me thinking I still have it in me, haven't partied in 2 years, went, and I just felt out of place. I just went home early, got Taco Bell, and went to bed. Cleaning bathrooms when I was working at a part-time job while searching for a new full-time one. Pizza delivery in my case, but I'm in that boat now as I look for another full-time spot. This was a fun job when I was 20, not as much now. Last year when I had to unbox, rack and cable 100 HP 1U servers after the first day, I was hurting everywhere. That's when I was, this is why I don't do data center work anymore. I was helping the guys on the systems team when they were short-handed. when I went to a local concert to support a couple of friends, and there were mostly boys and girls around the ages of 15 and 17. It hit hard because I hadn't gone to their little concerts in quite a while, so seeing all these kids made me feel old AF. Trying to fish my sister, her being a small 4 to 7 age, out of a Burger King playground. Got inside, but then realizing how cramped it was climbing up the tunnels to get her. She had the attitude at the time of, "You want me to get out, you have to make me." I used to play Roblox a lot, but now that I think about it, there's mostly 9-year-olds. I'm about to be 2 years older than the Roblox players. I just decided to play Minecraft again. Noise and crowds. Before I met my girlfriend, I was convinced it'd end up on a remote Scottish island somewhere away from civilization, so I settled halfway in the middle class area of York. Tried to climb a climbing frame thing, TBH it was kinda crazy, had to fall over at the top to get caught in the net thing, so I could rest. It was such a good view up there though, so worth it. Seeing bits of animal crackers in my poo before flushing, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stop buying those. I'm 22. I think you need to chew your food more thoroughly. Getting into online debates and responding to name calling just because opinions don't align. At one point, it hit me that neither side is going to benefit from it anyway. I needed to buy a wine stopper last year when I realized I could no longer handle drinking an entire bottle in one night. I'm 27. Every time I play Pop Tropica doesn't stop me though. Same here, but with Club Penguin. Finally met Rockapa today, lol. I'm 21, but my face screams 50 plus. Seriously, it doesn't look youthful in any way, even with Macup. Playing in a playground, riding something like a carousel. Except the Viking ships, I love those rides. When the wife wants to go 4 and 3 in one night, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is spongy and bruised. I dropped out of college, went back 2 years later, and now half my new classmates are playing Roblox. Some kid said Mariah Carey is not as good as Ariana Grande. I'm too old to prove them wrong. They're just a kid.